right. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome once again to the NewOaks AI Podcast. I'm your host, Leland Best, along with my guest, Ray Luan, CEO of NewOaks AI. How's it going, Ray? Another bright and bushy-tailed morning, 10 a.m. on December 10th. How are things over there?
Yeah, everything's going well, except there are a lot of good news coming out of OpenAI and all the
Oh,
AI
right.
industry.
It's a
So
lot.
yeah, I
It's a
was
lot to take in.
yeah. So we were supposed to launch on Product Hunt today, but because Sora and Google launched the Willow
Nobody
quantum
wants
chip
anything to
stuff.
do with you right now.
Right.
They're all playing with
No.
sorrow.
So yeah, so we postponed the launch on next week, next Tuesday, like December 17th. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot going on. Crazy.
The funny thing about Sora that I found is, there was all this talk going on
Yeah.
about people not want, especially the people on, what was it, Reddit, were complaining, oh, nobody
Uh-huh.
wants to use that, it's just garbage, it's all this, it's taken away from all the creative efforts of artists and everything. Who would want to
Yeah.
use that? It doesn't even look
Right.
right, and yet you
Yeah.
can't even get on the servers because there's so much interest with people to try
Correct.
and sign up.
Exactly.
Nobody can get in to actually use it right
Yeah.
now because it's so
Yeah.
locked out. So I'd love to show you an image, but I really can't. It's one of those things. So
Yeah.
yeah, Ray, that's not the only thing happening obviously in this space today, but let's talk a little bit about OpenAI since we're going there. They've got this 11-day product launch marathon going
Yeah.
on. What is that all about?
Yeah, I think that's the marketing campaign that Sam Altman was initiating for next year, I would say. So the first they have 11 days of different features to launch, right? So first they launched ChatGPT o1 out of preview and make it official version so that the o1 has more reasoning and inferencing capability compared with 4.0, but it's slower, but it's more capable in terms
Hmm.
of build some complicated projects. For example, coding, autonomous coding, or computation, or complex projects. So that's the first they, they launched. Oh,
Yeah, so
one.
they're basically giving everybody an option here as time goes
Yeah.
on to see a new product delivered each day for it's kind of like the 12 days of Christmas thing, you might say, is what he's doing over
Yeah.
there. He's just
Oh,
setting up a thing where every day he's giving out a new gift
that's
to
smart.
everybody as a feature from OpenAI. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It kind of goes along with the theme of things. So what
Yeah.
is Willow exactly? I'm hearing this thing about Willow too, but before we get over there, I know O1 exit preview stage. So it's no longer in preview, right?
It's official.
Okay, so what does that do then? That's day one. Day two, they're talking about reinforcement and fine tuning for
Yeah.
domain specific expert models in coding, scientific research, and finance. That just sounds like a bunch of word salad to me when I hear that. What is that
Yeah.
really saying to everybody when
Right.
refinement,
So
fine
fine
tuning? What are they
tune
doing?
fine tune is not a new feature, but but I think what they announced it is that to be able to use fine tune, you have to be prepared a large amount of data sets to train a specific model just for your own business. For example, like Best Studio could have a fine-tune model, but you
Mhm.
need to have the data set, the training data sets in order to use the fine-tune. Otherwise, you're
Gotcha.
wasting your time. So
Okay.
for a complicated project, or in science or scientific research, and also finance field,
Hmm.
and also autonomous coding field, I think you need a complicated or high quality data set, the data pairs, right?
Hmm.
And to train the chatbot so that you can score the output either is a good quality or bad quality. So you need
Hmm.
to, in order to use that, you need to have a good quality of a data sets, at least 1,000 plus. For my experience, I haven't read the document.
Makes
So
sense.
for small business owners, I don't think it's for us yet. Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
I think
have the
some of the leads we pull in, and even with the most enriched leads, aren't more than maybe 150 data points on some of the stuff that
yeah,
we pull in. So
exactly.
from that
Okay.
perspective, thinking of 1,000 data points is kind of
Yeah.
big because I was playing all weekend. I was poking around in a website called Merlin.ai, which is just a chat GPT interface with a lot of the other interfaces there for you to play with at once, and it reasons within them. So you can kind of play with it and it does its magic in that regard. So I sat there poking around with what I could do to reinforce and fine tune
Yeah.
the concept of multiple bots, like having one for your social media and one for
Yeah.
your marketing and one for
Yeah.
your, your content delivery and what have you. Well, what if you built it all in one bot instead of all these individual bots? And a lot of people have already done these multimodal builds, but it's that type of reinforcement fine tuning where if you don't have a proper prompt structure in place, where
Yeah.
these alternate egos, you might say, can actually reason with each other and have some form of communication on the back end of the system so that you don't have to tell them what to do. Now you're dealing with this reinforcement and fine tuning that it's now taking it a step further where we don't even have to tell it how to do its job as long as
Yeah.
we refine and tell it up front enough of what it
Yeah.
can use to train itself. So I'm
Exactly.
really excited about that. And then there's
Yeah. You're
Sora,
right. Mhm.
obviously. What else
Yeah.
do you want to say on that? If
Well,
there's
yeah, you're
anything
right.
there, Rick, for sure.
No, I'm saying like fine tuning is just basically a better prompt with with a lot of example, shot example. They call it one shot model. Is called multiple shot training. It just
Gotcha.
literally just write a better prompt, right? With a
Hmm.
lot of data sets as examples, so that the
Hmm.
AI can learn from the example how you answer the questions in finance or in science or in coding area. So that's about you. So you're right, 100% correct. You
Yeah, we're
got it.
getting a little bit of wave bandwidth issue coming over there from overseas. So we do have Hilton in the crowd. Good morning, Hilton. You guessing Model O1 is not really suitable for conversational chatbots, like for FAQs, etc. No, O1's more of their coded version, isn't it, Ray? That's more toward the
Oh,
coding end of
well, I
things, or
think
no?
O1 is more for complicated project. For example, for the project, you need a lot of reasonings, not for
Gotcha.
FAQs, QA stuff. Yeah. So for example, if you wanna the AI to calculate the formula, for example, you need O1,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You need a reason for each step in between before you get a result out of the mathematical formula. You need
Yeah.
to reason step by step to follow the whole formula or the whole process. So it's not for, I don't think it's for like customer service or sales kind of job, but it will be good fit for building planning agent, right?
Gotcha.
To orchestrate like different AI agent, and so that they can work together. So that's what O1 is for my
I like it.
understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. That sounds basic. And then from there, Sora's been teased and teased and
Yeah.
teased now for like a year. If
Yeah.
you didn't hear the news a while back, there was a leak where a lot of the employees themselves actually leaked some of the Sora content access, which allowed
Mhm.
people into the back end for a short period of time. And
Yeah.
OpenAI wasn't too happy about that. But
Yeah.
what would they do?
Mhm.
When you hold people at bay for a long time and not allow them to show off what they've been working
Yeah.
on for so long, when they feel it works adequately, then you're going to
Mhm.
have a little bit of morale issues inside the house that you have to deal
Yeah.
with. So let's just take a little quick peek at what's going on over at Sora right now. This is a little learn more. There's no real video here. This is just an onboarding web page over at Sora. So if you go check out openai.com/Sora, Sora, you'll get to see some of the more recent video content that's been produced over on that website as examples of what it's capable of. Pretty extraordinary, if you ask me. I've seen some of this footage a while back. I think the floating jellyfish has been around for a little while, but what we've also seen are some competitors to the market, Ray. I know there's a build over there on the east side of the planet as well. I believe it's known as Ruawan or something of that nature. That's a Sora competitor that is open source. So I'll
Yeah.
be bringing that up later on. It's definitely one
Yeah.
of those things that I was surprised to see. Looks really, really beneficial to a lot of people as well. So looking forward to
Yeah.
what's available out there.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap with Willow. I know nothing about Willow, Ray. You're going to have to fill me in. This one went right over my
Yeah.
head. I didn't even see it. What do you
Yeah.
got?
Definitely. So my understanding of, I just have a brief review reading about the Willow. So from my understanding, Willow was was the chips, right?
Yep.
That that Google built is a quantum chip, which means that they used quantum technology to build the chip instead of the silicon
Gotcha.
binary chip. So there are two features that we just need to remember. I mean, the benefit is that it can calculate the calculate the I mean a formula or a big project within 5 minutes, which was used to take what's to say the 10 power of 25 septillion years.
Wow.
Septillion years is 10 power of 25 years, which is longer than the age of the universe in that way.
Yeah.
You can
Crazy.
do it in 5 minutes. But what the feature is it's not a binary anymore. So binary is like 0 1s, right? So quantum basically is using it's called a qubit, quantum bit. A quantum bit has 3 different states: 0, 1, and superposition. So superposition means that's a state that's a state between 0 and 1, means 0, 0, 1 coexist in the same time. So they call it superposition. And also there's another tech term jargon we want to remember is that it's entanglement, right? So for example, if you change so quantum come with pairs. If you change one quantum particle in one position, but in a far away, like light years away, if you tweak another quantum particle, so this one will change its position accordingly. Doesn't matter how far they are from each other. So that's called entanglement. It means that so there's a hypothesis that we still do not know why it behaves like that, but there's a hypothesis that those two quantum pairs are actually one thing. So that when you tweak one and the other one will, be react in the same position and simultaneously. So we don't know why it behaves like that. But those are the two jargons you want to remember about quantum chips. The superposition, coexistence of 0 and 1 in the same time, and also the entanglement.
That's amazing. And I was big in math when I was young, but I never got past probably calculus. I never got into derivatives or any of those things. So for me, physics is way above my head. But I've been seeing, even Neil Grayson Tyson has been talking recently about the discoveries they're making with wormholes as well, that they may actually be the connecting thread, the fabrics from which multiple phases of a universe might exist, so that you actually have a connecting fabric underlying that we thought was just a hole into nowhere may actually be the actual thread itself. So pretty cool stuff coming out of the brains of AI, I think is a big help here, Ray, don't you? Do you think the scientists are being able to open up a lot more doors with this content?
Yeah, I think AI is going to accelerate our discoveries to the universe, like quantum computing or nuclear fusion or even black hole. So back to your topic of wormhole, the assumption is that wormhole is actually connect a black hole and a white hole together. So literally there should be another universe right after the wormhole. So that's an assumption. So there's a lot of new findings. It's mind-blowing experience,
That you have that much of a grasp of it impresses me, because I'm not anywhere near that level of mathematics in my
I'm just curious about I'm just curious about anything. So those are latest updates in the physical science field. So I was just curious.
I love it. Well, let's reinforce the mission statement then, Ray. We're bringing AI to automatically customize your business, as always, over here at NewOaks AI. So how does that align with the broader AI trends that are going on? I think you've done a wonderful job, Ray, of leveraging all of this technology and making it available in a single app for a lot of people to utilize. Kind of give us that 30,000-foot view of where we're headed right now with NewOaks. Give us, where everything's come together, how you feel it's working out for us, and where it could go from here.
Sure, thanks for the questions. Great question. So this end of 2024, I think next year, 2025, is going to be a big year for AI agent. That's why I think OpenAI is launching the 11 days of demo day, right? For product, product feature launch.
Mm-hmm.
So I think most of the features are prepared for building a real AI agent. So agent means not only a chatbot, means that the chatbot can you access and utilize the tools during the real-time conversation to equip with a chatbot. The chatbot is a brain, so an agent that can use the third-party tools everywhere, here and there, to make it a smart, intelligent object which can conduct a series of actions. So that's why we build conversational workflow that's prepared the way to build super agent for our job, for our project, next year's project. Next year, the biggest project is AI agent. So,
Mm-hmm.
so the idea is that we gotta be prepared for the era of, yeah. Thanks for bringing up the
Yeah.
screen. So on the left hand side, it's literally, so the idea is to use prompt to build an AI agent from scratch, and the objective is we are going to build AI employees for every small and medium business for different departments, right? But we don't want to use like those complicated Canva, drag and drop Canva style software. We want to build AI employees with conversation, with plain English. So that's the idea. That way, the entry barrier to build AI for all small, medium business will be a lot lower than it was before.
Mm-hmm. I was just
Yeah.
testing the other one's not giving me a response right now, Ray. I don't know if my coins are up to date. I would have to go check my AI
Yeah.
account.
You need to,
I may
you
be
need to
dry
check.
on tokens. Not a good day to be
Yeah.
giving demos. And speaking of demos, I'll be doing that, I'm sure, later. So just one of those things. If you are
Mhm.
problems with your bot, you should always go check your AI account because
Yeah.
sometimes that does go down. And other
Yeah.
times you just may have run out of tokens. And I think the last time I put tokens on was probably about 3 months ago. So there's a good
Yeah.
possibility that I need to go galley up my tokens a little bit.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of our customers actually encounter the same problem. So they run off their API tokens, but they saw they have Plus GPT Plus membership. It's
Yeah.
totally two different accounts. You
It
need
is.
to refill your API account in order to have enough tokens to make the chatbot be able to answer. Accordingly.
Yeah, we should probably clarify real quick, Ray, just on the external side of things. When it comes to actually getting an AI chatbot from NewOaks, there are credits available to help you train your chatbot, but there are only a certain level of message credits available for the token that actually is used to let the bot respond. So that's
Yeah.
not something you just give away to people. That's what you normally pay for when we buy these bots across the board. In this case, Ray's giving away 30 messages a month for free on the free bot itself and 2,000 a month message credits for the essential bot. And those go up as you move in because you're adding your own GPT OpenAI key to the back end, or what's known as BYOK, bring your own key. That allows you to take on the cost of the tokens that are being supplied during the conversations. There's no way we would be able to tally that up and actually determine how much token use you may be anticipating prior to purchasing a bot. So that's why the BYOK is put in place so that both protects Ray from being overcharged for people that come in and use 10 million tokens at their leisure because they think they're free, and that also puts a cost factor onto the person who's involved with building the bot to realize that these things don't come free, and you do have to really pony up to OpenAI is what it comes down to, or Claude, or Anthropic, you might say, because they're the ones in charge right now. They're the ones with the LLM models that we're all begging to use. So we're
Yep.
kind of at their call. Sad to say, but
Sure.
it's true. That's why we build our own sometimes, right? Right. We have these little
Yeah.
pocket labs going on where we put things together in hopes that we can, automate things. But in the end, I think we really do need that agent aspect where we put all of our eggs in a basket, you might say, but not in a risky way. We're
Yeah.
putting eggs in a basket so we know how much our eggs are worth. That's all.
Yes. Exactly.
All
exactly.
right, what else we got, Ray? I know we got a list of things to talk about here still.
Yeah.
With segment three, we've got conversational workflow that we just talked about, and then we also have the lead information memory. I can't wait to see what this is about. I didn't see this coming. What is that going to tell us for?
Right. So the idea is that on our web chat widget, right? So there, when you talk to the chatbot, a lot of times it's gonna pop up a lead form for the user to fill in, and
Hmm.
then after user fill in the lead form, and you can continue to talk to the chatbot and to make appointment, and
Hmm.
then eventually, so previously when you fill in their lead form, you fill your name, the bot still cannot remember who you are, will ask your name again during the process of booking appointments. Not remember what after you fill the lead form, so that you remember who you are, and will use your name to communicate with you. It's more human-like feature,
Hmm.
um, and make the whole process more user-friendly and consistent.
I like it. Okay. And
Yeah.
then now we're also offering the option, which was the BOK or BYOK I just mentioned a moment
Yeah.
ago, which is
Yeah.
in regard to now the sub accounts. Because it used to
Yeah.
be when we attached these, what it was done to was the workspace and in
Yeah.
some cases the individual bot. But what
Yeah.
we couldn't do was attach a BYOK to sub accounts on a free trial, obviously. And then there's the other ones that we build out when we go to add keys, we add them to the workspace. It could be an OpenAI key or a Claude key in this case, if you have those accounts active. So in this case, now we can go right to the bot, right, Ray, and just train the bot on an AI key. We can come over here to the settings for the bot, and I believe it's under the flow builder, correct? Or we can
Yes.
come down here and we can simply
Yep.
go to OpenAI, get the key that we need. So in this case, I'm going to show you a quick flash of my screen. That's what you're going to see.
Yep.
And then you
Yeah.
copy your key over, drop it into the field here. And now that bot is assigned an individual key that it uses on its own.
Yep. Exactly.
Very cool. Very cool. Gotta love it. All right. Down to the last segment here, Ray. There's not much more to cover. Advanced chatbot capabilities. This is where I get excited because now that we're talking agents, there's
Mhm.
obviously integrations involved, there's processes involved, there's information being shared. What's this read and process information from images? Are we going to be able to get some stuff
Yep.
just by uploading an image into the chatbot?
Yeah. So the idea, I think, for as we talk about Sora and stuff for next year, I think next year is also a year about the multi-module. So right now, our chatbot can only talk to the user by in the form of text message, right? But a lot of times, per our customer's request, for example, if you are an e-commerce owner, your customer want to send you image of the product and ask you to read about it, ask AI to read about it, and to communicate about the image. So that's what it's about. We are going to allow the user to send image, audio. Maybe next year we are going to allow the user to send video to communicate as an input, right?
Yeah.
And start the conversation. So I think that's going to be more future features about that coming.
Now, I suspect there'll be like a limit on the amount of video you would be able to upload, or are you talking
Yeah.
more like capturing a video of a conversation that you want to have with the bot? Like rather than give instruction audio, you could almost like capture everything on your
Yeah.
face and inflection
Yeah.
could be received in that regard, I'm sure, because the bots are reading facial recognition, obviously.
Yeah.
So now we take it a step further, and I know we just had a deal show up, and he's got some questions coming in on guidance for some following pieces. One of them is to create an image on the chatbot like an avatar, and two, to create buttons instead of writing same when selecting times. Oh, I see what he's saying. So basically,
Yeah.
he wants to know one is if we're going to be able to, and when, to create an image within the chatbot, probably an avatar that speaks or what have you. And I know that's been discussed in the past, Ray.
Yeah.
So let's address them both at the same time. The other is the little buttons that show up on the feed. They're just text buttons, and maybe he's looking for more graphical representations that
Yeah.
we could adhere
Right.
to and make it a little flashier. So go ahead and cover it.
So generate image generation. I think we probably will think about to how to add it for next year. So, but we need a solid use case. So whenever feature I'm building upon is always depends on like what use case that we have, right? We're not going to put every single technology into the chatbot, make it too complicated. But I think image generation is probably the best for the chat profile icon. Whenever you create a bot, you want to put a nice icon on the top left top corner, just to give the chatbot an avatar. So that's somewhere we may be able to do. And as regarding to the turn image to the button, that I think is a enter button, right? On the input box. Is
I
that
think he's talking about instead of where the writing says what you want it to do, like for the times and everything, he's just looking for a button, I think, to be able to, it says here, create buttons instead of writing when selecting times. So it must be just giving the
oh
time instead of a button. I think to
oh
have that represent a button to click on the chat widget when you go to select a time on your calendar, kind of thing.
oh
That's what he's
well,
looking
I
for.
think, yeah, I think. Let me think about that feature. I think if you booking appointments with Calendarly, that's probably will fit better. But if you're booking with Google Calendar, I think the best way is to give you some numbers, like 1, 2, 3, right?
Hmm.
With, with all the different time slots instead of
I see what you're
buttons.
saying.
I mean, you're right. So I think the most efficient way could be give you the numbers.
Because you went conversational with this. The idea
Yeah,
was to have a conversational flow when you were
exactly.
booking an appointment rather than having to touch those things. I suppose
Exactly.
the only thing to consider with the openness of how people might use it would be to consider a
Mm.
switch that yeah, you
Yep.
do or you don't have a
Yep.
conversational input, and
Yep.
it's one or the other. It's kind of hard to include both in a flow
Exactly.
like that and actually make it
Exactly.
work well together. So makes
Exactly.
sense. All
Exactly.
right, cool. So we do have some new toggles though, and
Yeah.
those are thanks to there's also the integration with Office 365. I know that's always been a tough one. It doesn't matter what bot you deal with. There's
Yeah.
something about Microsoft and Office 365. They just don't
Yeah.
really work well with bots. They never have.
Yeah.
So to be able to incorporate is definitely a lot of
Mhm.
work on Ray's part in that regard. Did you run into any big hurdles with that? Just having to deal with Outlook in
Um,
general? What is the real snag here that makes it so intimidating for people? They really don't want to mess with it.
right. But I haven't like checked into details, but we are going to work it out first to see whether it goes smoothly because
Yeah,
other people still use Microsoft Calendar, but I'm more with Google Calendar, right? I
yeah,
think
I
that's
agree.
more convenient. So it's about to diversify people's use cases, I think. So
Gotcha.
I would, yeah, let's play and see.
Okay, so then there's a couple more toggles it sounds like for disabling the web voice widget and disabling push to talk. So I assume that's over in the voice section on the bot, correct?
Yeah,
So let's
yeah.
take a
So
peek.
we're building that feature right now. So the idea
Oh,
is
okay. Gotcha.
separating the voice widget with the chat widget separately,
Okay.
so that you
Makes
can
sense.
deploy both or one or together or separately, right?
Yeah, yeah.
For the push to talk, I think it consumes a lot of tokens. Some business owners just doesn't like
Okay.
use.
And that
But
makes
yeah,
sense. What
yeah.
is the token distribution on that, Ray? Can you give me a heads up on like one way? How many tokens it takes to push a voice through the
Well, let's
walkie-talkie?
see. I mean, for 1 minute, it's like zero point zero zero zero
Oh, okay.
six
So
cents.
it's not
So
much at all.
it's not a lot. So I don't think it's worse to turn it off, but it's people's choice. So
Well, we'll be
I
trying it
wouldn't
like
turn it
crazy this weekend, so I'm excited to give it all a whirl, Ray. And then the last
off.
thing that we're just going to cover really here is a recap of everything that's been going on over at New Oaks and OpenAI in general, obviously, with GPT-01 exiting its preview stage and the reinforcement fine-tuning capabilities that are going on day two, along with another 8 more days of announcements going on
Yeah.
over at OpenAI with new features after Sora was announced yesterday. See if you can get in. Not many people have been able to that I know. Every time they go
I
over
can
there,
get in.
they can't open an account. There are some others out there. If you were to Google open source version of Sora, you may find another player on the market. I'm not going to mention names, but they are out there. So make a little extra effort to go out there and take a peek. BYOK for white label accounts is now allowing sub accounts to bring their own keys in for enhanced data control. And the lead information will be stored as memory so that the bot does start to remember who it's talking with. And then any of the newer capabilities that come as far as being able to read and process images for 2025, Office 365, and some extra disabling toggles there on the back end. So Ray, tell them what you want out of this whole thing. Though I think we're all out of the winter Black Label, Cyber Monday, all that stuff going on. Everything's over with. So it's the holidays, and what do you got going on, Ray? We're going to take a day off in a week or so. Actually, 2 weeks from now, we're not going to have a broadcast on the 24th of December because that's Christmas Eve. So we're not going to be here on air, but we will be here next Tuesday at 10 a.m. as usual. So be sure to stop by. Ray, I hope you guys are having a great holiday season over there. And your side,
Same to you. Yeah.
Things will be working out. Looking forward to a really good 2025. So
same here. Yeah,
my announcement for anyone out there, I will be dropping some stuff in the community and out on the Discord, especially for the white label users who've bought into Ray's program as of recent. For all the other users out there, if you have any questions, be sure to drop them into the community over on the Facebook group or on the Facebook page, where we will address those, whether they come from support or myself or a video link to something out on YouTube. Be sure you follow up. So thanks, Ray, for all your time as usual.
Thank you.
See you in the next video. Take care.
Talk to you next week.
All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.